Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Thalassains Podcast. We're very excited today to be talking to Kaysha. Kaysha, welcome.
Thank you.
Uh, I'm very excited about today. I feel like there's going to be a lot of cool things that we're going to talk about. From what I gathered, it's our first time having a conversation, but from what I gathered, kind of like prior to reaching out to you, that both you and I had a similar kind of like mind shift in almost at the same time. So, but we took action in different parts of the world. So I love that. And I just kind of really looking forward to this call and to what we're going to discuss.
Me too.
Awesome. So what I really love to like start with is just ask a lot about your background, your life experience. How did you get where you are? What made you decide to like do a challenge and start cleaning the sea or the ocean? How did it all come together?
So I'm born and raised in Southern California. I've lived in California my entire life. I grew up a little bit inland, so not too close to the beach. And then when I went to college, I moved closer to the ocean, about like 20 minutes. So I had more access to it, which was great. But growing up, my parents always like instilled the value of like taking care of our planet. They really taught us the importance of, like recycling and loving animals and stuff like that. So I went to college and I got a degree in biology, and then I studied marine biology. And I did a lot of work teaching, doing intertidal education. So I teach as an educator down at the tide pools in Orange County. And so I've always had like a love for the ocean. And then I've been like working a lot since I was 16 and very involved in what I was doing. And then COVID hit.
So were you working, so when you were 16, you were working also mostly stuff related to the ocean? Is that kind of, okay.
Yeah.
Love it. I mean, sounds perfectly like California. Sorry to cut you off, but
there's lots of opportunity for it here. So like I was really able to have that kind of access to work those types of jobs. So I've done everything from like teaching at tide pools. I've taught like after school biology programs. We were learning about like ocean animals. I've taught at like places like the Ocean Institute, working with like all grades, like K through 5th grade. So I've had a very diverse background within ocean conservation.
Amazing. Okay, so I guess your eureka moment or your aha moment came like a long time ago.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, love it. And when you mentioned, like, I'm just like curious myself, like, so when you mentioned like the tide pools, when I think of tide pools, I think of the Red Sea, but I know that our small tide pools, they don't have a lot going on. So could you let me a little bit about like what happens in the tide pools?
So in California, we have a rocky reef system. And so typically when people think about like the ocean, they think of like coral reef. We don't have coral reefs here in California. We have a rocky reef. So it's literally just that. It's a reef that's made of rocks. But it's very diverse because in California, we have what's called an upwelling. So we get like this rush of cold water, which brings in tons of nutrients. So our biodiversity is extremely diverse here. And California is like really special with the amount, like the abundance of animals and sea life that we have here. So tide pools are these little pools that the tide will bring in and out. So sometimes they're there and sometimes they're not.
You're not, yeah.
Yeah, and then within our tide pools, we have things like different species of fish. We have different species of crab, lobsters, octopus. We have everything.
Wow, I love it. Yeah, I'm definitely more used to the coral reefs in general. Red Sea is all coral reefs and like super colorful and super pretty. But amazing. That's very cool. Very cool.
I wish I was more familiar with coral reefs. I'm hoping to get there at some point in my career that I will make the transition because like we were discussing earlier, I'm definitely a warm water person. And in California, we have very, very cold water. So I'm eager to get out of that
Yeah,
ecosystem.
okay.
Yeah.
And that's actually crazy. I had no idea California would have cold water, but I guess
Yeah.
it's the ocean. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of
You
makes
wouldn't think so
specific. Yeah.
because it's very warm here. Like especially in Southern California, it's very hot. We're like a desert ecosystem, but our water is cold, unfortunately.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
love that. Cool. Cool. Okay. So now that we kind of know, or I kind of know where your kind of background is, what is it that you kind of do right now that helps I don't know, create a better future, create a better land in California, in your society and what's around you?
Yeah, so right now my big project that I'm working on, it's completely like independent project of work, and what I do is I do beach cleanup.
Okay.
So I started doing beach cleanup well, a little bit before that actually, because I work at tide pools. I work directly on the sand, and I've worked there for about 5 years. And during my time there, I've always picked up trash. So it was just here and there during shifts. I would have like a 2-hour shift, a 4-hour shift. And during that time, I'm just picking up trash. I bring a bucket with me. A lot of my coworkers do that. So we just pick up trash while we're there. And so I was always mindful of it, but not to the extent of what I'm doing now.
Okay. So
Yeah.
now what is the, like, what do you
Yeah.
do now?
So because of COVID, I got furloughed from a lot of our jobs. Everything shut down. And I really felt like I was stuck and I wasn't having the impact that I wanted to have. So I started like picking up trash in my neighborhood. And I think it actually started like on Earth Day. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go pick up trash for Earth Day.
Love
And
it.
yeah. And then I kind of got like a little rush from it. I'm like, oh my God, I picked up, like 2 pounds. This is great. And I was able to really see like where the trash was coming from, because that neighborhood trash, a lot of it is people are littering, unfortunately. Yeah. So it's people, throwing out their plastic packaging or their food packaging, etc.
Always everywhere.
Yeah. And so I started posting on social media, like the trash that I would just pick up just on my Instagram stories or like an in-feed post or something, like, oh, look at this trash I found or whatever. And people were really attracted to it, and not attracted to the trash, but just like the things that I was doing. The idea of it. And so I started doing more like beach cleanup. I was cleaning up more, especially during the summer. At the beach, we get lots of trash from our swells, and then also from like tourism. So from there, I started doing organized beach cleanups because so many people were interested in what I was doing. So people were like, when are your cleanups? Like, when are you going to host a cleanup? How can I get involved? Like, can I pick up trash with you?
Okay.
That type of thing. Yeah.
Cool. And it kind of like rolled from there. And then
and
cleanups
then
are getting bigger. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. So people started joining in. I would say, okay, I'm going to go to the beach, in 2 Saturdays. If you want to come out, feel free. And I would tell people, bring your own stuff. I don't have any cleaning supplies for you. Like, we're just picking up trash with our hands at this point. And so, again, I kept posting. A lot of people wanted to be involved. And so people actually were able to like donate supplies and donate money so I could get supplies. And so now I have like a more organized structure of running beach cleanup.
Cool. That's amazing. It's crazy to think about it. It's exactly kind of the whole idea of how Thalassains was born is kind of like very similar to that. It started kind of like I was snorkeling in a reef I haven't seen, found a bunch of trash, started doing reef cleaning, went to the beach and kind of noticed for the first time that there is a lot of trash there. And I don't know how, I've never noticed it because I was always there. But yeah, just all of a sudden I saw it. And then it's one of those things that once you see it, you can't see it. And it started exactly like that. I
tell people that all the time.
Yeah, you start picking up a couple of things, you post a couple of pictures, and then people are liking it. Everyone is going to get involved. And then you just build on that and make cleanups go bigger. When you said most of the, so when you're doing your beach cleanups, where do you think most of the trash comes from? Do you think it's getting washed up, or is it people littering?
So most of it for sure is washed up. And the reason that I can tell is because a lot of the plastic is already degraded. A lot of the trash is already degraded, which tells me that it's been out in the ocean. There's things like waves and swells that are putting it in motion to break down. The difference between people littering and leaving trash on the beach is
just a good quote. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm very aware. Yeah. I think for us in the Red Sea or in the shores of the Red Sea, the Red Sea specifically, I think it's more littering. Very not too much things coming from the sea. Definitely some, but I think mostly it's a lot of littering. The Mediterranean, though, however, it's the microplastics coming from all the big ships. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of like it's all colorful. You go to the beach and there's like blue everywhere and all these like super small plastic pieces. That's just, you can't, like, it's not that it's like popping out, but if you look a little bit closer, it's like, I don't know, billions of pieces, right? It's crazy.
That's one thing too that I don't think people realize is like trash and plastic does not weigh a lot unless you're picking up things like tires, which I've definitely picked up, or like pieces of furniture, which I've definitely picked up. Those things are heavy. But if you're going out consistently every day, every other couple of days, you're picking up small plastics and small pieces of trash, and they don't weigh anything. I'll go out for like an hour and I'll pick up 2 pounds of trash. I picked up a ton of plastic, but it didn't weigh anything. So you really have to put that into perspective too when you're picking up trash. Like, okay, yeah, we picked up 1,000 pounds of trash, but that's 1,000 pounds of small plastics. And so I think when you put that into perspective, it really changes your mindset even further, because you're like, wow, this really is an issue.
And that's in like one local beach in California. Yeah. Now let's go to, I don't know, what is it, 75% of our Earth?
Yeah.
That's water or something like that. So it's, it becomes a bit of like, holy shit, like this is crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess with your whole journey, whether it's, I guess, pre-COVID or when you started doing your beach cleanups, what are some of the things that like challenged you, or I don't know, just challenged you, and you're just kind of like maybe got close to a point where you're just like, I don't know if like this is too much, I don't know if I can do it, any kind of like that stuff. So maybe talk a little bit about the hardships, because I know this job has a lot of hardships.
Oh yeah. I think for me, the most common question that I get is like how I deal with climate anxiety and climate grief, because really I'm in my line of work. I'm dealing with, the general public, I'm doing research, and I see the impact that humans have on the planet. And then also with the doing beach cleanups, I'm also seeing that impact like really close and personal. So dealing with climate grief and climate anxiety about like this doom and gloom of, oh my gosh, why am I even doing this? Because there's just so much either to pick up or there's so much to change about our policies, that I feel like gets to me sometimes. And that's like the most common question I always get. Like people always ask that, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it? And a little bit of it is like kind of just pushing it to the side and trying not to think about it. I know that's not like the most healthy way, but a big part for me is taking action. So like I see all that stuff and I want to be a part of the solution and I want to change it. But for sure, that's like the biggest hardship is like, this is so heavy and it's weighing so heavy on my shoulders. And sometimes I feel like, I'm literally only one person, and what really is my impact having,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so valid. Like I get the same ideas sometimes. And from the beginning, when I first started approaching this, it felt like such a big problem that I'm like, hey, like how's it going to this? And I guess one thing I'm realizing is like, not even realizing something that I had from the beginning is like, there's no one person, one country, one company, one corporation that's going to fix this. It's like, we need everyone that could possibly be involved. And then like everyone else that can be involved. And then maybe we can get by. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's
totally
like,
agree.
it's very big. And it's like, just kind of like trying to do all what you can with what you have, that
Mhm.
is the only, like, I mean, there's not too much in our control, right? Like, it's very hard for a regular person like you and I can go to and be like, well, we need to change like Coca-Cola's policy. We can keep
Yeah.
petitioning and raising awareness and letting people know like this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. But ultimately, it's not up to us, you know, it's way out of our control. I mean, it's up to us in terms of like, let's not buy their products. Let's talk to our friends so that they don't buy their products. Let's
Yeah, exactly.
do this or do that, like talk shit about them on social. But at the end of the day, it's so big and so massive that like they need to come on board, and like all their friends in the corporate world need to come on board. And again, at this point, we still, hopefully we have a chance to kind of like, save it. Crazy. Curious to ask, like, do you also go in the sea a lot? And do you feel like, is the reef situation, I know, like, I'm not sure how would you tell if a rocky reef is healthy or not, because I've never seen one. But do you feel like over the years, in terms of like marine animals, like quantity, all that stuff, do you feel like, is there anything changing, or is it just as good as it ever was?
Yeah, so I both scuba dive and free dive.
Okay,
Do a
amazing.
lot of snorkeling as well. Yeah. And so my perspective is a little bit biased, and the reason why is because the area that I work in is a marine protected area. So there's a lot of regulations within a marine protected area, and especially the marine protected area that I work in, which is in Laguna Beach. It's a no fishing zone. It's a no take zone, which means you can't take any animals, can't take any shells. And so it's heavily regulated. So the beaches that I'm going out to and I'm interacting with always do better than the beaches that are on either side of the marine protected area, and then also further out too. So our marine protected area is about, I think, 2 to 4 miles from the coast.
Okay.
So my perspective is a little bit biased. In marine protected area, we always see an abundance of animals. We see, we have Garibaldi here, which is a bright orange fish, and we have lobster. A lot of like do lobster diving here in our marine protected areas. We always see them. We see octopus. However, outside of the marine protected area, if you see a decrease in abundance of those animals, that's really when you're going to notice the effects of, plastic pollution and overfishing and overconsumption.
All that stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, it's super similar, I guess, for us. We have the south of Egypt, Marsalam, which is South Red Sea. It's like Elphinstone, Daedalus. It's where you have your hammerheads and the hammerheads, the tiger sharks, oceanic white tips, threshers, if you're really lucky. And then obviously like giant mantas sometimes, and the tunas, and so all that part. It's not it's not a protected area, but it's not known per se yet. It's very low key. So then you find like a ton of abundance there. We have one marine protected area, which is Ras Muhammad. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. You're almost guaranteed every side you're going to see. You're Napoleon, you're like sharks, not every time, but you're going to see a Napoleon, you're going to see an octopus, a lot of like really cool like marine animals are like really special and nice sightings. And then you can go to places like Hurghada or Sharm el-Sheikh, which they used to be like, we have one spot in Sharm el-Sheikh, which, I mean, I remember a memory when I was like 8 years old of like snorkeling in this place and just getting like my heart just like beating so much because I couldn't even see the ground. It's shallow, it's like 10 meters. But I couldn't see the ground from like how much fish there are, and just schools and schools and schools and barracuda schools and this and that. And it's just crazy. And I dived there 3 years ago, and there is like nothing. Like there is some, but mostly it's like, I don't know, like half a watermelon on the beach, and then like, I don't know, a pants stuck to the reef, and it's just like dim colors. I was just like, I literally stayed in the water for like 15 minutes, and then I was like, okay, I'm out. So some places do really, especially for us when it comes to the tourist heavy area, like the Blue Hole. The Blue Hole used to be just gorgeous. Like I did my advanced open water there. What was it? It's been 8 years now. I remember in that, because that was my first time in the Blue Hole. You need to be an advanced open water to go there. It's like a drift dive. And it was just like, again, so many colors, so many schools of fish. Yeah, we have the cleaner fish that you take the regulator out, open your mouth, and it kind of goes in. And then yeah, again, dived there like 2 years ago. Just rocks. It's a really deep hole, and just there are a couple of fish, but 10% of what it is. Furthermore, like this place is supposedly like regulated, but you're like going with the boat or whatever, because sometimes we have to take a boat, like there's a spot kind of down the shore that you have to take a boat to go there. You're like seeing all these like tourists or like people who don't necessarily know how to swim, and they're just walking on the reef. Like they're just like, and then you go and be like, dude, you're walking on the reef. And they'll be like, oh, don't worry about it, I'm wearing shoes though. And it's like, whoa, we're far. We're not talking about the same thing. So it's very challenging. I mean, I'm really happy that you have your spot that you can still go in and see all the fish. And we, again, maybe 10 kilometers south of the Blue Hole, we have the eel garden, which is like a spot that's not really known. You go down, and the eels are kind of out. It's super shallow, like 12 meters, even if you free dive down there. It's amazing. You feel like just you're in Medusa's hair or something. It's just, it's lovely. But yeah, I'm just trying to make similarities. Like it's the same everywhere. Like small parts, you treat it well, it will become abundant. You're gonna walk on its reef, it will die on you.
Totally agree.
Yeah, crazy. Okay, cool. Now that we kind of like talked a little bit about the challenges, I'm really curious to hear the other side. What was a moment that you had that made you feel like, I need to be doing this like for the rest of my life? I love it. This is my calling. This is amazing. If and when that happened, maybe talk a little bit about this moment.
I have two that immediately come to mind.
My
first one. So I've always known that I wanted to be a marine biologist. Like I grew up saying, always, I want to be a marine biologist. I want to swim with dolphins. That was like the big thing. I want to swim with dolphins. And I want to be involved in this. So when I went to college, I was like, okay, great, I'm going to be a marine biologist. And I got to take all these wonderful classes, and I learned so much. And then I graduated, and I was feeling like a little lost. And I had a couple friends who were talking to me like, hey, let's go take this class. And it's a gray whale ecology class. And I've heard lots of things about the class. And so we go and take the class, like a 4-week course. And at the end of it, you get to go down to Mexico, and you get to interact with the gray whales during mating season. So you take these little ponga boats out there, and within the lagoon, it's all protected, and you're able to actually touch the gray whales there. And they had warned us, like, it's not guaranteed that you're going to touch the gray whales. Like, if they don't want to be touched, they're not going to come up to you, whatever. And we go out there, and we saw one gray whale come up to the boat, and half of the boat got to touch it, and I was not part of that half. And I was just really emotional just to be in the presence of a gray whale. I was like, this is like the coolest thing ever. And I'm very bummed that I didn't get to touch the gray whale, but I just, wow, And then we got like 20 minutes later, and then all of these gray whales just come up to the boat. I'm like getting emotional thinking about it right now. They all come up to the boat, and they're fin flapping, and they're bumping up against the boat, and we're touching them. And I was crying the whole time. I was laughing. I felt so emotional. And I just got to interact with these big, giant beings. And that for me, like, solidified it. I was like, this is the best experience of my entire life. Nothing will beat this. And it was such an incredible experience to have with these incredible animals. Like, I know it sounds cheesy, but like, it just felt like there was a connection there between us and the gray whales. Like, even like a mom would come up and bring her baby up to the boat, and we're like, what is this? Like, who gets to do this?
They know they're not going to be harmed. I feel like they feel it. I can, it's not cheesy to say, it's completely true. totally believe they feel it. Like I totally believe they feel it. You
Yeah.
know, so it's
And I felt that too while I was out there. Like I felt that connection. Everyone that was out there also in these boats was feeling that connection. I'm looking over to my friends. They also have tears in their eyes. Like that moment, I was like, I know 100%, like without a doubt, I'm supposed to be in this line of work. I'm supposed to be like advocating for the ocean. I'm supposed to be advocating for these animals because like that was just so, it was so big for me.
I mean, did you get to go in the water when they were
No,
there?
so that was, you are not allowed to go in the water at all.
Okay.
Even if you accidentally fall over, they will kick you out. They'll be like, nope, no, everyone has to leave now. So we're like, fall in, like stay good. So yeah, but even just being on the boat, like you would lean over and the gray whale is right there.
Yeah,
it was
no,
really, really great. Yeah. And then the second time for me, where I also got a similar feeling, not as good as that for sure. Like that's number one, 100%, like top level. Nothing will beat that. Or maybe if I interact with some other whales, maybe. But a similar feeling I had was on my beach cleaning journey. My goal for 2021 is to pick up 2,000 pounds of trash. And initially, when I started in January 2021, my goal was to pick up 1,000 pounds of trash. And in, was it June? Yeah, June of 2021, we picked up 1,000 pounds of trash. And the amount of support that I felt, so we picked up 1,000 pounds like 6 months early, which first of all, I couldn't even believe that. I was like, how did I just pick up 1,000 pounds of trash with like all my friends and family? But it was so crazy. Yeah. But the amount of support that I got on social media from friends, from family, like that is really what got me, because so many people were involved in that process of picking up 1,000 pounds of trash. And like now there's all those people that care about the beach and they care about the ocean and they care about like removing trash and see how big this problem
is. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. No, two amazing moments. When you were talking about the gray whale, I don't know why I kind of, when I asked you this question, I felt like what's coming was a story about an interaction with, I thought a dolphin. I don't know why. It's because I guess that was mine. It was after a beach cleanup, and it was sunset. It was Ramadan, and I'm Muslim, so I was fasting.
Yeah.
Finished the beach cleanup, maybe 20 minutes till sunset. Swimmed out. I'm just like literally chilling. At that time, I was like 3 months post ACL, so my knee is not like in the best place. I'm very cautious. So anyways, I'm just kind of like chilling, low tide, water still here. And like, I just see like 10, 15 fins, dolphins for sure. It's what I said. So I'm like, safe. So I start like, we have a saying back home that I feel like, do this like sound in the water, whatever, kind of like get their attention. I don't know how, like if it's true or not, but anyway, started doing it like a crazy person. And then kind of like looked left, got distracted in something, and then looked right. And I was in the middle of like a swirl. Like I'm standing, water here. There's like 15 dolphins just like, I like their bottlenose, so super friendly, but I'm like they were so close that I thought like my knee is gonna get hurt. So I literally just like floated out, like pulled my knees out, and I was like, hey, just let go. And it was a good 15 minutes of just like boom, 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 until this person came like running from the shore that wants to like join it. Once they heard like they left. And I was like, come on. But it was it was absolutely crazy. And I mean, like an interaction like that is not uncommon in the Red Sea. We have tons of dolphins all over the place. But to be in like low tide water, like in Ras Sedr, in that place, chances are they're not that big, but they're around. We have other places like in the south, for example. We have a couple of places. There's one called Samadai. It's a reef, and that's like a dolphin house. It's crazy. You're almost guaranteed. Like 90% guaranteed to kind of like swim with them. And then there is Sataya, which is the unregulated dolphin house, but it's like like deep. So not a lot of people go there, so it's even much more magnificent than that one. It's just pods and pods. But that was like, that wasn't even in the open Red Sea. That was like in the Suez Canal type of thing. Like it's very inland. It's not open sea by any means. So it's it was. So that was moment like after this was done, like right after a beach cleanup, I left. Like I was walking out that day, just like, if I'm gonna do like one thing in my life, like it's that. Like I don't care. And my background is like marketing. I had a social media marketing agency, like corporates, and that was kind of like all what I was like hoping to, like, I want to work with this, I want to work with this corporation. And it's just like after this point, like go find someone else to sell your houses. Like I don't know. I'm gonna like chill here. Like
I love that.
So that's super cool. That's super cool. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say animal interactions, just it's so, there's something like soulful about it. Like having those interactions with these animals that you don't get to like typically be around, obviously, because we're land dwellers. Like it's like magical. There's something so pure and like innocent about it. And I think it means so much to so many people.
Absolutely. I did a small post about that, maybe, I don't know, probably a year and a couple of months ago. It was called The Secret of the Sea. And it was talked about how it's like, this is what it's all about. It's like these moments where the eel came out to say hi, or the manta ray kind of like just gave you her wing and was like, like watch me go. And like it's all that. And I mean, it's amazing that you free dive too. Like even sometimes is I just learned this year, so I'm still new but loving it. Definitely more background of scuba and kite surfing, but just learning free diving. And like honestly now I don't do anything else. It's just that. And even when you're down there, even if it's eyes closed, just feeling the connection with the water, just like getting your contraction and then realizing that you're all good, and just being immersed in the ocean or the sea, and kind of getting this mammalian diving reflex kicks in. All that is such magic that, as you said, as land dwellers, it hits us different, and it hits us deep, and it's like it's something existing already inside of us. And it's just a matter of like activation, you know what I mean? And then once it's there, you're just like, crazy stuff. Okay, so loving everything. It's crazy how a lot of the things you had. Well, I mean, you were really advocating from the sea from back in the days. I'm kind of started advocating for it too. I loved it all the way, like since I was a kid, but I just never saw that trash. Like that was like, it was there. I just never looked at it. I don't know. But yeah, it's amazing. And like, as the last thing I wanted to ask you is like wanted to kind of give you the mic. Tell us something you've been working on, give people an advice, tell us how we can help you, how we can support you, whatever you want. It's kind of your show. Go.
I don't know. I think like the biggest thing for me is right now I'm just really focusing on beach cleanups at this point. I'm going back to grad school in 2022. I'm actually going to Australia, which I'm so stoked about.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I will be in a coral reef environment with warm water, which I'm super excited about.
Did you say Australia?
Yeah, Australia.
Amazing. So you're just the biggest one.
Yes.
Love it.
Actually, right on the Great Barrier Reef too. So that's very exciting. Anyways, so while I'm in transition, waiting to go back to grad school, I will be, keep going on with my beach cleanups and keep teaching and educating. So if you do want to support me, I'm on social media. That's the best way. I'm really pushing to like
in the video. I'll link your thing here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So if you want to support me on social media, is the best way to do it. Or if you want to help pick up trash, you can always like donate your trash weight to me. I've had a couple of people do that. You just pick up trash, send me pictures, weigh it, and I'll include it in my total. But yeah, that's really it. Also too, just like supporting the ocean in general. I know it sounds cheesy, but like that is such a big thing for me. So if you can't, go on socials or whatever, you do your part in your own part of the world. And I think that, helps out everyone. So do that as well.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, this has been like nothing short of like, well, a big pleasure to meet you and talk to
Yeah.
you. And this has been amazing, wonderful. So happy we got the time to do this. So thank you so much. And when we do get our bracelets done here in Canada, and I have a stock here, I'll be sure to send you one. And
Yeah, thank
our
you.
next one is going to be called One with the Ocean. So
Yeah.
hopefully you'll like it. It's made with all
Yeah.
sustainable materials and all the
Yeah.
good things. So again, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure, and yeah, we'll just keep going. We'll support you anywhere we can. Keep sharing your posts and doing all that. And yeah, have a beautiful rest
Yeah.
of your night.
Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure here too.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, of course, Kaysha, have a good night.
You too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.